tuliangalia vitu inafanyika na mandege hii Kenya, tukaambiwa Sifuna, ukiingia ndege hakikisha kuna mtu ya UDA pia ameingia hiyo ndege.
General Ogola is among the people who went to Bombras to try on overturn my victory. Do you know that?
Ukiingia ndege hakikisha kuna mtu ya UDA pia ameingia hiyo ndege. Ndio kama kuna hasara, kama kuna hasara itapatikana, ODM ipoteze, UDA ipoteze, tutoke draw. Ndio maana nimekuja na Cheriot, hatuko pamoja. Mtu asikudanganye bwana. Niseme nisiseme.
And as a Muslim, General Ogola shared with me text messages. General Ogola, as a respectable soldier and general, he asked and sent a text message to his bosses and asked, what am I going to do in Bombras? And this has happened. And General Ogola was told, it's been decided, you go. And General Ogola then again sent a text message and saying, now that the result will be announced at 3, as a general, as a soldier, what am I doing here?
Asanteni sana na karibuni sana. Kwa majina yangu naitwa Kip Zakari. Kenya, mambo ni mengi sana, muda ni mchache, na kama ni mara yako ya kwanza kabisa kufika hapa siku ya leo, mtazamaji mwenzangu, na kuomba uweze kusubscribe, like and share. Ninapoenda kuwekea video kama hizi za kisiasa, unakuwa kwanza kabisa kupopin na kupata uhondo wa siasa zetu nchini Kenya, Afrika na dunia nzima, bila kuegemea side yote, ukabila, siasa wala dini.
General Ogola is among the people who went to Bombras to try on overturn my victory. Do you know that? But because when I looked at his CV, he was the best person to be general. I called him and I sat him down. I told him, my friend, you went to Bombras to try and overturn my victory. But because you are the best person to be general, I'm going to give you the job. That is how it works with me. That's why I told you, if a person has the qualification, if he is the best for the job, I will give him the job.
But that is the military. There's a code of conduct for the military and how politics works in Kenya, Mr. President.
Let me tell you, my friend, I had the opportunity. I could have appointed anybody. I had, I think, 10 choices. I didn't have to. You know, there are people who say, oh, you know, William Ruto appointed Ogola because he was the deputy CDF. That's not the case. I made the decision consciously. And I made the decision against the advice of many people. Many people told me, you should not give this, you should not reward this kind of behavior. Okay. But, you know, I also must be sensitive. What exercised my mind? This gentleman has a good track record. And in fact, when I spoke to him, and it's not something that I should be talking about, but because you have asked a good question. What exercised my mind is, this gentleman, yes, he may have made a mistake. Maybe because the commander-in-chief that time told him what to do. Maybe he... And when I talked to him, he told me, I have no defense. He told me, I have no defense. You do with me whatever you want. I cannot defend. It was wrong. What I did was wrong. Yeah? I am also conscious. My good friend Ayub, I'm also conscious that since independence, there is nobody from Nyanza who has ever been CDF. And it also played in my mind that I don't want a situation where a whole community think they cannot occupy a certain office. So many things that are part of my system overweighed the mistake he had done. Okay. You know, so I want to tell you that I make very sensitive appointments. I make very deliberate appointments. Many of the appointments, of course, that do not have to directly require my signature. Many of these managing directors, I don't know who, they are interviews all over the place. You know, so, and when a panel decides, for example, I was brought a panel that interviewed the CEO of museum. And just by coincidence, you know, the person who became number one was my classmate. And I never even asked anybody to assist her. So when it came to me, I told my friend, you know, if she's the best, okay. She was a lady.
Okay.
Mtaacha kutubeba ufala. Huyu cameraman, si yule alisurvive the plane crash, ile claim the life of the only man, Ogola. Huh? This is this.
In my military life, I have come to learn the reality of human mortality. I have appreciated that life is finite, humans are mortal, and life is short. One morning, you are with a healthy colleague. The next minute, he's ashes and gone forever. Now you see him, now you don't. Seeing colleagues die in war, in accidents, or in sicknesses, the reality of human mortality lives with us each day. The remembrance parades, the funeral rites, imprints in us the eventual end of life and service, whether as a serving person or as a veteran. These final motions we go through imprints in our minds the reality of the end of life on earth. One verse that comes to memory every time I witness these motions, and some I witnessed even this week. John 11:25, where Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes in me, though he dies, yet shall he live. This gives me the assurance that life on earth is in God's hands. So, and when it ends, because of my faith, I know, yet shall I live.
Today, at 2:20 p.m., our nation suffered a tragic air accident in Sindar area, Keben location, Todd Division in Elgeyo Marakwet County. I am deeply saddened to announce the passing on of General Francis Omondi Ogola, the Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces. Together with him in the crash were 11 other gallant military personnel, 9 who also passed on with him, and 2 survivors. The gallant military personnel who passed on with General Ogola are Brigadier Swale Saidi, Colonel Duncan Keitany, Lieutenant Colonel David Sawe, Major George Benson Magondu, who was also the pilot, Captain Sora Mohammed, Captain Hilary Litali, Senior Sergeant John Kinywa Mureithi, Sergeant Cliffons Omondi, and Sergeant Rose Nyawira.
In 1998, I resigned from the military. And so, as protocol requires, I was taken to him for an interview. I thought the interview would take 10 minutes, and then he would sign my papers. He talked to me for 3 hours. For 3 hours. And when he finished, these were his words. Francis, you have the potential to be the Air Force commander. Go back and work. So I took my resignation letter and went back. 20 years later, I was promoted to be the Air Force commander. And I remembered his words. I drove with my wife all the way to Narok. And we sat with him, and I thanked him for his vision and wisdom. He talked to me again for 3 hours. And when I was leaving, those books General Karange talked about, he brought a heap of them. And he gave me and said, I'm glad you listened.
My people, Francis Ogola, this is the cameraman mwenye alisurvive during that plane crash, and I don't know how did he survive. And let me tell you, sikuna Mungu huku nje. So look at the transformation. Alafu Sifuna amesema Sifuna has just said, mtu wa ODM ukiboda plane alafu upatane na hakuna mtu wa UDA hapo ndani, toka mbio kama risasi, hairisha hiyo safari. And I'm like, yo because they're just saying that the death of Francis Ogola was a setup. Anyway, Aluta, my people had missed you so much, and I'm back.
Asanteni sana na karibuni sana. Kwa majina yangu naitwa Zakari. Kenya mambo ni mengi sana, muda ni mchache, na kama ni mara yako ya kwanza kabisa kufika hapa siku ya leo, mtazamaji mwenzangu, na kuomba uweze kusubscribe, like and share. Ninapoenda kuwekea video kama hizi za kisiasa, unakuwa kwanza kabisa kupopin na kupata uhondo wa siasa zetu nchini Kenya, Afrika na dunia nzima, bila kuegemea side yote, ukabila, siasa wala dini.